Okay, so leptin is produced in your fat cells. So if you're overweight and obese, you'll have more leptin in your body. However, leptin only works properly when there's just the right amount of leptin in your body. If you have too much in your body, it doesn't work. If you don't have enough in your body, it doesn't work. So when a healthy person is eating and leptin is working properly, what happens is you eat the food, the calories from the food goes into the 75 trillion cells that make up your body. And then after that, the excess calories, some of them get converted into a compound called glycogen. Glycogen is just a fancy word for stored carbohydrates. And those get stored in your liver and your muscle tissue. When the liver and muscle glycogen tanks are full, then the excess calories go into your fat cells. And then that's when leptin is produced. Leptin then makes the phone call to your brain and says, hey, you're full, stop eating. And that's how it regulates your body weight. When that is working properly. We've all heard that it takes about 20 minutes for you to feel full. This is the major hormone that makes that happen. Okay, now you need to have just the right amount for it to work, right? So if you have too much in your system, if you're overweight and you're obese, you have a thing called leptin resistance. You have so much leptin in your system that it's not working, it's not communicating with your brain. So what happens in these people is that they eat, and the calories go into the 75 trillion cells that make up your body, they go into the liver and the muscle glycogen tanks, and then they go into the fat cells. But common sense would say if you have all this leptin, it should be telling the brain to stop eating, but it's not doing that. What's happening is that leptin is trying to make the phone call to the brain, but there's so much leptin trying to make that phone call at one time that the phone line crashes, and the brain doesn't get the message. All your brain hears is a bunch of static. So you continue to eat. This is one of the reasons why we continue to gain weight, because you're not getting the signal from leptin to your brain because there's too much leptin in there. So on the flip side of having too much leptin is not having enough leptin. So our bodies were created to survive. And to survive, your body needs calories, it needs energy. So it gets it from the foods you eat, and it gets it from the stored body fat. So before 10,000 years ago, agriculture started. Before agriculture started, it was either feast or famine. So you would eat, and then sometimes you wouldn't eat for another week, maybe even 2 or 3 weeks later. So your body ate the stored body fat to keep you alive. However, today, all of us have unlimited access to food. And since you have unlimited access to food, you keep giving your body the raw materials it needs to create energy, so you never get into the stored body fat. So what happens with a person who doesn't have enough leptin, it goes into a famine, but we don't have a famine these days, right? We have a thing that we improvise a famine, and it's called diet. So what's the number one thing that people do, and the only thing that people do when they go on a diet? What's that? Starve, exactly, starve. So you cut your calories out all over the place. You don't just cut some calories out, you're trying to get into a size 2 dress. You're trying to get your six-pack abs for the beach for the summer, so you're cutting calories everywhere. And your body is used to getting X amount of calories per day. And when it doesn't get that, what it does is it puts you into a starvation mode. That's how you create a famine in today's society. So when this person eats, because they're cutting all these calories out, you're not getting the amount of calories to get into the fat cells. They're going into the 75 trillion cells that make up your bodies, and maybe some of them will go into the glycogen tanks in your liver and your muscle glycogen tanks, but they're not getting into your fat cells. So leptin isn't being produced. Your fat cells get smaller and smaller, and there's less and less leptin. So what happens is that you're fighting your body. Your body slows down its metabolism so that you use less calories to survive, and it increases your desire for food, it increases your appetite. But because you have determination and willpower, you fight this because you want to get into a size 2 dress and you want the six-pack abs for the summer. You're fighting your body and you keep resisting your body. What it wants is the calories. So eventually, either one of two things is going to happen. You're going to hit your goal and get into a size 2 dress or the six-pack abs, or you're going to quit the diet because it's too hard. So what happens is that you start eating like you normally did again, And your body, because it thinks that it's starving and doesn't know when it's going to eat again, it stores all these calories right into your fat cells, and you go right back up to where you were before you started the diet. That's why diets don't work. That's why 95% of all dieters regain all their lost weight within 1 to 2 years, because leptin is controlling biologically what happens with your body. So you have to have just the right amount of leptin. Too much it won't work, and too little it won't work.